This week, students at LA Unified returned to in-person classes following winter break, but according to the LA Times, in those first few days, 130,000 students, more than a third of those enrolled, were absent from class. And Culver City Unified canceled all classes next week because of the COVID surge. With all of that in mind, parents and students alike are left feeling the same anxieties from the past 2 school years, including what to do next. Joining us now to help answer some of those very tough questions is Dr. Tracy Bennett. She is a mom, a psychologist, and a founder of GetKidsInternetSafe. Dr. Bennett, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Dr. Bennett, a lot of parents are wrestling with whether or not they should keep their kids in school, given the risks of this recent surge. What should parents consider? And if they do choose to keep them at home, how do parents prevent their children from falling even further behind academically?
Well, this has been really difficult this time because we don't really have the information we need to make a good decision. And so in clinical practice, I've seen a lot of families really struggling because they don't want to miss out on educational opportunity, but they also don't want to risk COVID exposure. So everybody's kind of making their own decisions, and teachers aren't able to communicate real time to give us the information we need. It's caused a lot of stress.
Oh, absolutely. I know it has in my household as well. So we know kids' mental health has taken a huge hit during the pandemic. Now, because of this most recent surge, they may not be able to hang out with their friends or participate in after-school activities. What's the best way of explaining these issues to them, or maybe just giving them hope for the future?
You know, I've talked to so many children who really, they have anxiety and they have a lot of depression, just like parents do with all of these changes. And one thing they often say to me is they feel like their parents don't listen. And when I really look into what's going on, it's not that their parents aren't listening, it's that sometimes they disagree. And so one thing I tell kids and parents too is there's a big difference between not listening and having a disagreement. Healthy families have disagreements all the time. So when there's a stalemate, people need to make sure that the other party feels heard, but they need to take breaks once in a while and be willing to negotiate some things.
Now, speaking of negotiation, I know this one's something that a lot of parents are thinking about right now. In the past years, parents have tried to rein in their children, right, from spending too much time online. But now, in a lot of cases, kids rely on social media to stay connected with their friends or to do virtual learning. How can parents ensure that they're getting enough good online time versus bad, and how do you negotiate that with your child?
Now, this is the question, isn't it? When I founded Get Kids Internet Safe in 2014, we were struggling then. But with COVID, it makes it really tough because we can't keep screens out of the bedroom because that's everybody's office. And work days go long and school days go long. So some of the things I talk about is to learn what digital injury is. And digital injury is any harm that can come from things seen online, either inappropriate content or inappropriate relationships, even as far as repetitive injuries because people are on screen so much, like ocular headaches. So educating kids and parents is my mission with Get Kids Internet Safe. I teach the red flags of digital injury, how to really evaluate that content matters. Educational content can be really healthy for kids. Video conferencing with friends can be really healthy for kids, where maybe pulling back social media and gaming on occasion is important. But most important is they have to have some tools. So one of my favorite things we offer at Get Kids Internet Safe is a connected family screen agreement, where it's totally free and parents can go over agreements with their kids so it doesn't feel like rules are just popping out of the blue, and then renegotiate that as they get older and need more independence.
That's really interesting. Now, between hormones and puberty, it is normal for teens to push back or show signs of stress. What is normal developmental stress and what is clinically concerning, especially given everything that's been happening?
I think that a lot of us are in a form of cognitive dissonance, which is what we psychologists call that stress we feel when there's an unresolvable problem because we don't have enough information, or we're even holding 2 opposing opinions within ourselves at once. Parents and kids with the COVID crisis and the divisiveness out there, we've all been in cognitive dissonance quite a bit. And so I think that we need to teach kids how to tolerate that gray area rather than black and white thinking, or that we have the right answer at the right time. Sometimes you're just in the middle of it. And it's important to take long breaks, like from media, from screen time, spend a lot of time one-on-one, give kids things to do so everything isn't online. And, spend time as a family, start that cooperative dialogue right from the beginning. We all need a lot of TLC right now.
Oh, yes, we do. We definitely all need that right now. Going into 2022, hopefully we will all be taking your advice. Dr. Tracy Bennett, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me.